What's up, fam? Welcome to another edition of God Dreamers. I'm so glad that you guys can join us today. And today, I have three guests. Two of them you guys are already familiar with, Jairus and Jordan, my sons. But I also have another guest. He was on one of our episodes about a year or so ago. An aspiring artist. His name's Three, and he's gonna be. His background is music and worship and artist and all these great things. So I'm just looking forward to what he has to share. And of course, with my sons, they're aspiring artists as well. But today we're going to be talking about something that's been really on my heart these last few weeks. The music industry, as you all know, aware of, has been kind of going through a transition, and in particular the rap slash hip hop music area to me has kind of gone through some changes, and I feel like it would be a good topic to talk about. And basically, we're going to kind of talk about the big question is today's rap music toxic, and so anyway, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. And I got this great panel here from an old fart like myself to Three that's a little younger than me, and of course my boys that are they're totally immersed in that environment. And so I wanted to kind of have them on so that we can get their perspective, because like I said, I'm old, and I'm into rap, but not the way they are. I mean, I'm kind of like the old school kind of stuff. But anyway, they're more familiar with some of the newer things. But anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So welcome, guys, to God Dreams. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Jordan, you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Jordan. I'm the host's son. I go by August. That's my rap name, producer name. I guess artistic name. I do audio engineering. I do graphics design, web design. Some people call me a media specialist. I guess that's a good way to put it. But anything that's like creative media, production, whatever it is, I got my hand in it. So it's pretty much what I do.
Cool. And Three?
Yes. So my name is Three. I'm from Florida. Been doing, I was in the Army, retired from the Army a few years ago, was active duty. And whenever I got out, I really came to know the Lord. And after I got to know him and grow in relationship with him and have that intimacy with him, I just wanted to know how I can serve in any capacity, and that capacity was through worship. So I'm honored to be able to worship him every day, and worship him and write new worship to him, and that's my goal. I think I look at it from a different perspective. We'll be able to get into it in this conversation, but I just know that he's the creator. He's given us our creativity and everything that we have, and I'm just honored to be able to worship him. So so that's what I do. I work. I help out veterans now. That's my job, and with their disability benefits and all that, that's my full-time job. And any chance I get, man, I love just being in the studio, producing, making beats, graphic design. All that stuff, anything on the creative spectrum, I just love to do. I get lost in it and really, really love it. So that's a little bit about me, man. I'm in the Florida area.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And last but not least, Jairus, you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jairus. I'm the oldest for the host. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, so I just actually separated recently, also. It's like a few years ago, maybe like 3 years ago, I think. Now,
I think 2 years ago, right?
What's going on? Yeah, it's going on 3 years, like 2019. So
yeah.
Let me see. So yeah, I like producing, making clothes, like anything creative. So I've been doing that. I feel like my whole life. Kind of like took a break from it, obviously in the military, but I felt like I was always drawn to doing something music wise and clothing wise, just designing things like that. So that's what I'm inspiring doing. I'm also in college right now at Georgia State. I'm about to graduate in May, and in the marketing with the marketing degree. And I just wanted to understand business a little bit more so I can expand the creativity side of me. So I think that's my life really in a small little space.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate it for sure. Yeah. I'll just share a little bit about myself real briefly. I of course, the host of the podcast, but my background is actually in engineering. That is electrical engineering. But I've always had a love for music from day one. I think. My dad was a musician, and so I just loved music. And as I got older, I started playing in bands and all that good stuff. And then I kind of got away from it. I got into my career and just did my career for several years. And in the last few years, I've really been getting back into it again. So it's been a great journey. I play mainly drums, my main instrument, but I play also guitar, bass, little keys. And so yeah, so that's my background. So the big question for our first big question is going to be what is hip hop versus rap? I just want to kind of throw that out to kind of break the ice as far as what we're talking about. I mean, and this is not a trick question. I'm just curious on what your perspective of what that is, because I know there's sometimes some confusion about those terms.
I think it's I'll go first. I think it's the difference between culture versus history. So like we were discussing a little bit earlier, but I think like the hip hop is just like something that just grew over time that evolved from rap. Like rap is like the history coming from like hip hop and like the DJing, the turntables, and like the creation of the art of just creating beats out of old records and stuff like that. So I think hip hop now is like just the culture around it with the just how we know it now, and then it's just with different subgenres just branching off of hip hop.
Yeah. I'm gonna caveat off that. Hip hop is a culture. And rap is vocal delivery, if you will. Shoot, hip hop. What it's been a cultural movement. Shoot, that started over 20 plus years ago. But hip hop, it has elements to hip hop. When I think of hip hop, you have MCing, you have MCs, you have DJing. Whenever I think of hip hop, I think of graffiti, dancing. That's what hip hop reminds me of. Rap is, it's the combinations, it's the elements of rhyme and poetry, to a musical beat. So, I believe that rap has a background in improvisational poetry, if you will. It can be part of the hip hop lifestyle, but it's more about the rhyme and poetry whenever it comes to rap. So that's my take on those two different elements.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think my perspective of it is, since I'm the elder of the whole group.
Yeah.
It's funny because people have been rapping, from the 20s. They didn't call it rap then, but they just kind of rhymed and did, but it didn't really come into, I guess, fruition into the 70s as far as the creation of the genre, rap music. Because I remember vividly when Run DMC, no, not Run DMC, it was Sugar Hill Gang. Sugar Hill Gang came out with Rapper's Delight. And I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, that's different. That was different, but it was so cool. And I think it was mesmerizing because it was just so different from what, I've been exposed to. I mean, I grew up listening to soul music with my parents and so forth. And so the first time I heard that I was like, man, that's kind of cool. And then the radio just kept playing it over and over and over and over and over again. And so and we just wanted more. And the next thing you know, Curtis Blow came out with some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jairus and Joe, y'all probably saying, who's Curtis Blow?
I definitely heard of
You know, okay, yeah. But Curtis Blow came out with some stuff like These Are the Breaks and all that good stuff, man. So yeah, I remember the time when those artists came out, that it was more of a kind of a party type feeling, and I guess it's because it was based on DJs, do partying and scratching and all that good stuff. So I remember it as kind of being more of a party thing. And I think Curtis Blow started talking a little bit about some social things, but it was still kind of light and fluffy. It was not until I think it was Grandmaster Flash when I was in college when they came out with I can't remember the name of the song, but that was the first time it became a little bit more serious in terms of some of the things that we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my take on it. And then from there, of course, it just kind of migrated into all these different other elements until we are today. But my question for you guys is what has made rap so alluring to you guys in terms of just wanted to be artists in that area?
Shoot, man, I'll go first. Writing. I mean, for me personally, it's going to go back to God. Writing is what brought me back to the Lord. It allowed me that relationship with the Lord. I grew up listening to hip hop, to rap, to Nas, to Biggie, to you name it. Rakim, Jay-Z, Illmatic, Stillmatic, stuff like that. Beastie Boys. And I always got caught up in music, and really a lot of it was just the beat, man. Just the beat, like learning how to make beats. I remember having an MPC 2000 XL and having a floppy disk.
Uh-oh.
And learning, yeah, exactly. Learning and getting sounds like that was, blessed to me. And I learned how to make beats out of that. I learned how to plug that into my Mac. I had a desktop Mac, Apple computer, man, and that, and I had it hardwired in, man. None of this digital interfaces and things like that. And I was able to. I just got lost in the beat and the elements, and that's what drew me into rap, And then as I grew and I evolved, writing would always be a place of safety for me. So the lyrical part of it as well too. I remember listening to Nas, man, and he did that whole song in reverse. I don't remember the name of the song off top, but talking about the gunshot, and the bullet, and he did the whole song in reverse. I believe it was on Stillmatic, but just remember hearing that. And just his delivery and his approach. And then also it was about Queensbridge, it was about his life. It was about where he was, it was what he was relating to. So for me, I go back to, the Lord in those elements right there. So as I came to know the Lord, where did I find my safety at again was writing to him, and that's whenever I've been able to see the writing elevate. That's whenever I've been able to see me personally, my production, the creativity element just, rise, so that's what's drawn me into doing, man, just hip hop. It's so much fun, man. It's like, no matter what, you can never run out of the creativity spectrum of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you got genres of country or of certain genres of music, and you're going to expect a twang, right, in bluegrass, or you're going to expect a banjo or something like that. In hip hop, you can combine all those elements, man. We're taking ukuleles now and stuff and making lo-fi beats out of them, and they're just straight fire, and turning them into trap beats. We're taking bluegrass and banjos and throwing them over 808s, man. I mean, that's the diversity of it in the way that it's evolved. You know what I'm saying? The way that beats have evolved. That is just what's so awesome and inspiring about it. It's like, it feels like the creativity and it's proven it doesn't end. You know what I mean? It doesn't end. It evolves, man. it evolves. You know,
Yeah.
music in general evolves, but rap and hip hop, man, it brings you there, man. It brings you to this element that you can create. You know.
Yeah.
And,
That's true, man. Because I think I remember when I was listening to some of the old stuff, the flow is different from the way it is today. It's a
yeah,
totally different flow. And so
totally.
I definitely can agree with that. Jairus, Jordan, what do you guys have to say?
I just know like it's kind of interesting just how music and rap in general just was introduced to me like as a youngin, because like dad, you only let us listen to like gospel rap instead of the college.
Yeah,
So
that's what
it was,
That's my fatherly duty.
and it wasn't even like I don't like regret that that's what we listened to, just because like I feel like you could play anything. I mean, at least like rap style, like rap music, it's just there's just something innately like addicting about it. I think it's more with the beat. It's like Blake was talking about. Like it's, I think just having a pattern, like a kid listening to a pattern, is just innately like addicting. So like just listen to Grits as a kid, it's kind of just crazy, just like how it painted my reality. Like I don't even know. It's just crazy just to think like how I was remembering the words and like integrating what he was talking about without actually understanding like what actually he was talking about. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it was just learning what was happening in the song without, you know, like reading a book or something. So I feel like just the information that gets transferred through music is just way easier than just like, you know, reading a book or something like that. And yeah, I think that's just why it's so popular. Like it's just something like the transfer of information is just so easy, and I guess it's like a dopamine hit or like serotonin release or something for us.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
I can agree with that. What about you, Jairus?
Yeah, I wanted to hear his answer at first because it's like we were like in a very controlled environment when it comes to music. So
Yeah.
I had to seek it more than it was already there compared to a lot of people, you know what I mean, growing up. So yeah, it took a lot to go find music. But Lil Wayne was like the first person I really listened to. But um I don't know, like it just I feel like it's like growing, yeah, it was just like a very controlled environment. So like the way I just perceive music and it's just different. But the beats and everything comes from it, I think inspired that because I had to find it differently. And the music I was listening to is more like the church choir stuff. Like I wasn't really listening to hip hop. Like Grits was the only hip hop song I was really listening to growing up, because I didn't really listen to like that time. Like searching for it was like when I was like in middle school. Like that's when I was really introduced to it. So like all between there, that's all gospel music, all like very clean music. So I think that what makes me different compared to a lot of people when it comes to making beats, because I think that is like the sole thing of what gets people hooked into the making music and like the creativity process. And I think it's different because it's like based on electronics compared to like a lot of like genres out there, because I was like based on like more like musical instruments. So I think that's like probably like a new reason why people are more enticing to it, because of that element, because it's like it can expand into any lane, like you said earlier, like the banjos and like the country music, you can encompass all that into hip hop. And yeah, that's basically it, really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, you think about, you know, I hate to say his name, but Lil Nas X. I mean, he's not the first one, but I mean, but he used the element of country music and hip hop to kind of come together to make a unique sound. And I think, you know, that's what made it so popular because of that. You know, that's the cool thing about rap, because like I said, you can rap to anything for the most part. You know, And so I've heard rap music tied to jazz. I've heard it tied to rock. I mean, I guess Run DMC did, Walk This Way years ago. I mean, there've been other artists that have done other things, but you can kind of tie it to any type of genre of music, and it works for the most part, as long as you maintain that beats per minute, timing. I mean, it'll work. But let me ask you guys this question: what are your thoughts as far as how the message has changed, and what are your thoughts about the message? It seems like the message to a lot of the modern rappers that are out today has been kind of dark, from from some of the lyrics that I heard, and that's not just in rap music. I think music in general, but I've been in particular rap music. You hear a lot of it's a little bit darker, and so what are your thoughts about that in terms of how it's kind of migrating into that dark area?
I probably go like, are you?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like piggybacking on what I was talking about earlier, just how like it's easier to just obtain information through like music. I mean, we could get into like conspiracies and stuff, but there's definitely just something out there that's obviously not wanting people to, I guess, prosper. Like it's just Black culture, hip hop culture, and Black culture is not owned by us per se. It's propagated by people who are greedy and don't actually you could say like don't really care about us, but it's clear as day to see when you just look at the stuff that gets highlighted by our culture, the stuff that gets promoted, the stuff that they display, the stuff that they fill the kids' brains with in the schools and whatnot. And it's like, it's really on just some conspiracy stuff, because you don't ever see music that talks about prosperity, music that talks about family. It's rare to see that. It's very, very rare to see that. And if we get biblical about it, obviously we know that the enemy doesn't want, a family, because that's where God resides. So I just feel like that's really what's going on and why it's so dark and evil out here with the culture.
Yeah, I agree with you, too. And, we've came off of not to get in this discussion, but we came off of a very isolated area. You know what I mean? And, people were built for a relationship. God created us for a relationship. And when, people want a connection to something. So a lot of times, like I said, my connection coming to rap was, writing and beats and the music. So when people find something that they can relate to, or what is surrounding them, and they put it on in their earbuds and they put it through their ear, that's what they find their hope in, they just do. And, like your son just said, people putting out this music, man, like behind the scenes, like people's names that we don't hear about, that, that are running playlists and in charge of things and got money backing them, they do know what is successful. They do know what goes in to the earlobes of people, and then ultimately is transferred into the soul and the heart and so forth, so it's powerful, man. And music and especially hip hop, man, and hip hop and rap, man, it runs things. You know what I'm saying? It really and truly does, man. You go to football games, you go to basketball games, you go all over the place. But I think it's deeper, like your son said.
Yeah,
I believe there's agenda and there's plan behind it as well too. There,
Yeah.
there really and truly is.
Yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry,
It is.
and the funny thing about it is, it's universal. I mean, if you look on social media, you see, in Korea, you look in Japan, you see in Africa, you see hip hop and all around. I mean, all these other cultures have kind of taken it on. But like Jordan was saying, I think it's really about greed and what sells and what's being promoted. But like I said, why do you feel, man? Why do you feel like it's a conspiracy in terms of uh, you know, pulling down people, as opposed to lifting them up? Because that's my question is, because like I said, rap was not always like that. It's just not. It's just until recent where you see kind of like the self-hatred, this disrespect, this anger, violence. Popping off people. Taking your lady. This is all this kind of, man. This is like self-hate kind of stuff that's going on. So I mean, Jairus, what do you think about that?
I think it's like you said, like the greed is just it's too corporate now. Like a lot of people used to do it for the love of making music. Now it's more like I can make a lot of money from it, so they take advantage from it. So I think that's the reason. Yeah, like you said, like they know exactly what sells. So like that toxic relationship things, the shooting people, just like all that negative energy. A lot of people go through that and they find reasons to escape that. So if that's all you feed in to them, like it can, you're controlling them in a way to always feel that way. That's why a lot of people are, I feel like, are depressed. And I think that's like going to like the more conspiracy thing when you're going into like the medical things, like stats. But I don't know. I just feel like it just toxic because they just know that sells, and a lot of people are in tune with that type of music where like the 808s are bumping, like the beat is like going crazy. So they'll listen to anything that's being said on there. And a lot of people probably don't even know exactly what's going on. They're like blind. They just hear like, oh, it's a good beat. I like it because of this and that, but they don't even know what the message behind it. So a lot of people, I think, is just lost. And it just, like I said, like I think it's just a manipulative type of promotion of music because they know exactly what they're doing, and it's a plan, it's a scheme behind it.
Yeah, but I guess why is it? I guess why is it? I mean, so what? But what's causing it? What's the? I'm asking you guys. What do you think is causing that? Because it's not necessarily
the money.
Well, what do you mean causing it?
I mean, what? Yeah, I mean, why? I guess why the transition from like I'll give you a quick timeline. Like I said before, when I was coming up, it was rap was more of kind of like party, have a good time. Then it slowly started migrating into dealing with social issues, which was understandable because a lot of a lot of these kids, these artists came out of inner city areas where life is rough. The Jay-Z's and so forth. And then it kind of migrated to gangster rap, which I can still understand because I think you're living in an environment that's kind of tough, so this kind of like a survival type of mindset. But now it's kind of like, I know times are still tough, but it's kind of just gotten like totally crazy where everything that's being written is just depressing in a lot of ways if you listen to the lyrics. So my question is, why do you think that is the case? Because I don't think things have gotten worse in a lot of ways, and I think things have gotten better in a lot of ways. And other things have gotten worse. I know the breakdown of family has gotten worse, but I'm just kind of curious from your all's perspective, because you're in that environment. You see the people, you see these artists. You talk to them, you interface with them. Not just necessarily artists, but just people at your age that are kind of dealing with these things. So I mean, what are your thoughts in terms of why you think that's is the direction now?
I think it's like everybody's saying, like it's biblical, you know what I mean? Like it's a real battle out here. So it's gonna be good versus evil land right now. Like everything, I think is just being pushed out more because of the internet, and it's reaching a lot more people at faster rate. But I think, yeah, it just come down to a lot of people are just lost out here, and they don't know the truth.
Yeah.
So when it comes to music, they're keeping them in a low place at all times because this is what they're feeding you. It's everywhere. Like Instagram, TikToks is a trend. You know what I mean? Like it's music that's portraying all these things to keep you down. So why would they want to? It's like things like when you go to conspiracy series with like cancer, like you feel like they probably have a cure for it, but if they have a cure for it, they're not gonna make money no more. So it's like the same thing. Like if you have good music, they're not gonna make any money no more because it's gonna be less. At least what they stand for is like negative energy type things because they're not really of God. So they can't push that type of energy all the time because they're not gonna make money from it. So I think it just go down to like the money scheme where they know exactly what they're doing with pushing negative energy because that's what they're all about. Just negative energy.
It says that people love to the desires of the flesh and those things, and it really is true if you just sit back and look at it. Not to beat up with Bible, but if you look at it, I mean, people are lovers of themselves, and there's more self-glorification on it now. I mean, there's so many look at me ministries. I think people are tired of it. It's just everywhere you go on, you got a new apostle and a new prophet and all that. I don't know who deemed them it, but hey, if the Lord says it, I'm not no one to judge. But you just got this self-glorification, and I mean, geez, you can create a song out of your phone, So I believe that is one thing, and it talks a lot about, in the Bible, left to your own devices and left to yourself, and left to your own thoughts, and a lot of isolation can lead to that. I believe that has a lot to do with it. I believe the family dynamic has a lot to do with it as well too. I believe times are getting worse. Man, it's dangerous when we have things at our fingertips like never before. It can be very, very dangerous, and especially when it's unsupervised and there's not boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Or there's not rules. Can you imagine if there's no speed limit in life? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine if you don't have any boundaries or restrictions on something, or if you don't have any rules in your household? But just think about it. How many people are leaning on music and leaning on things, and that's what they're being taught by. I know I look in my feed on social media, and there's stuff that I didn't even ask for to be in there. You know what I'm saying? But it's right there. So only knowing what my nieces and nephews and generation and curators and creators and stuff like that are coming up with. You know what I'm saying? Another thing too, man, I'll say this as well too, is that the adversary, he's roaring around on this earth like a lion looking to devour all of us. Remember, he was a choir master, in heaven, and he understands what can affect us. He understands, and I don't give him any glory, but he does understand. If anybody understands, it's him, the spiritual. So I believe a lot of it is spiritual warfare as well too, as well. And let me say this as well too, that Christian stuff has not really been up to standard neither. So a lot of people have diverted what is better. And so it's up to us as believers to create excellent stuff, because our God is a creator of excellence. Look at us here.
Yeah.
Look at the creativity process. He is a God of creation. That's what he did in the beginning, created, from the beginning. And he said that it was good. He said that it was good. He said not some things, but all things are good. So, the adversary, I mean, in this, we don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against spiritual warfare, spirits and principalities, that's what we fight against. I don't say that, the word says it, and I'm going to stick to that. That is, was, will, always will be, and that's my belief. But that is what we fight up against. And you're at an all-time high where anybody can be a rapper, anybody can be a beat maker, and you have all the platform and availability to do it, and if you don't have any guidance and you don't have any of that stuff in your life anyways, because the family dynamics torn up. Like, just look at the history from you went back to the 20s, you go back and look at the 50s, they ate more around the dinner table and stuff like that. Is that really happening these days? Are men really leading their households?
Yeah.
Things like that. So if not, are you really having family function? The one dynamic that God wants us to have. Are you really having that? Do you really have rules and boundaries and things like that, that are being created? If not, then you're left to yourself and you're going to do what the flesh wants.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man.
You're just going to do it. I don't care who you are. You're just going to do it.
Yeah.
So you're going to satisfy the flesh. And you know why you're going to satisfy the flesh, or you're going to satisfy any of those things, right? Because it's good and it's easy. It's easy. It's the easier thing to please the flesh or to please what we want, But I'm going to say, not to interrupt you, I'm just going to go back to this too, is as believers and whatnot, as believers in Jesus Christ, all things are done with excellence. It wasn't halfway done. We need to step our game up to par. We're finally doing that in series like The Chosen, and things like that. Like, that is an actual great series, But before that, man, you people are disinterested. They are just like, there's no way. It doesn't even gain the attention. So I'm not saying for entertainment to replace the word or nothing like that, but I'm saying, if there's nothing in line with the world or the music or the hip hop or the secular hip hop to Christian hip hop or whatnot, if it's not in comparison, people are going to definitely gravitate toward what sounds better and what's in, They're just going to.
Yeah.
I feel like that was definitely like a tough thing for me because, I don't know, like Reach Records, I'm not trying to like diss them or anything, but just from my perspective, like growing up, I couldn't relate to it. Like, it just didn't feel relatable to me. Like, just the idea that it had like put on me was just like, this doesn't seem real. Like, it doesn't seem like the stuff that I go to from day to day. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a human. Like, I go through, I'm going through life as a human. I know that I'm not from here. I'm not of the flesh, but I'm going through this and I'm dealing with human things. And I just feel like that's the key, like, for, like what we are doing here is to, bridge that gap and to like tell people that like we all human here. Like, we are all going through the same thing. And it's not a crazy idea to just be real, like just be as real as possible. And that's what I try to do with the music that I make. Just like put it all on the table, and not hold back. And at the end of the day, I'm always giving glory to God, because the way I see reality is just, I can't see it any way else. Like, everything is of God. So I feel like that's what my purpose is, and I'm just running with it.
Hey, let me say this to you. You just brought up a really good point. I'm going to say this as well too. It's one thing for me or anybody to sit here and throw out scriptures or to throw out the Bible or to throw out things, but that's the one thing that many people get tired of. But one thing that you just said that was a key point that I feel without a shadow of a doubt is that people want to be understood. So it's great. Okay. Yeah. John 3:16, for God so loved the world, okay. I get that. I got that he gave his only begotten son. Right. I understand that what you're telling me, I understand that you're telling me to pray, but a lot of times people want to be understood, and that's what we got to do. And if you don't have, if the world don't think that they don't understand when they're creating music, how to make people feel understood where they're at, and they do it really, really excellent. They do it with excellence. The music is created with excellence. The stuff is created with excellence. So that's what I'm saying is people want to be understood. So if it's very surface level and people aren't understood, then how do you ever expect them to go deep? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like if somebody's an alcoholic and they come to our meeting and we're just like, don't be anxious or worry about nothing. Philippians 4:6, give everything to the Lord. That's great, but we aren't dealing with that person's problem. So when people aren't dealing with that person's problem and they're just like, Jesus is going to fix all your problems, I get that. But a lot of the root core, like even in my life, I go through it, is I want to be understood. I want to know why. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it. Like even Paul says, he locked up in a cell. He says, I do the things that I don't want to do. I do the thing, and I don't understand these things. So we don't understand sometimes, and we want to be understood, and don't think that society and music doesn't understand that. So it's one thing to just preach it at you and to get preached at, but if the person is never understood, they're going through some pain. That's why they're cutting themselves. That's why they're doing it.
Mhm.
But that's why they idolize, the Machine Gun Kellys and the people of the world, because they identify with them by their pain that they went through, by their story. And then they talk about it, and then they actually feel that because they're being real in it. And then when they listen to it, it feels real to that person, and they can relate what goes through that song. And guess what? When they're creating it, they're doing it with excellence, no matter what it says. No matter what it says.
Makes
That's
sense.
true.
Yeah.
So being understood is really, really important. It's one thing to preach or to do this and that, and it's one thing to tell somebody something, but we're all going to have to experience everything for ourselves. Yes, all things are to glorify God, but the thing is we can say that over and over again, but if people are not understood and they are not met, and we aren't doing things with excellence, then why do we expect people to listen?
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, Jesus spent his whole ministry was relating to people, right? I mean, he was relating to people, that whatever their needs may have been, whether it's poverty, whether it's sickness, whether it's just depression or dealing with demons. I mean, he met their needs before he met their spiritual needs. It was the physical needs that he dealt with first, understood, and then he dealt with the spiritual side of things. I think with today's music, it's to me to basically it's just a reflection of what people are dealing with, right? So I mean, if you're gonna be talking about sexual type stuff because you're probably dealing with sexual issues, right? It's gonna be kind of distorted, but I mean, you're gonna talk about that. You're gonna deal with violence because you're probably experiencing violence, right? Or you're gonna be dealing with self-hatred because you're feeling with low self-esteem, and so you're going to talk about those things. So I mean, it's dark because that's what the lives of what they're living right now, unfortunately. And so it makes sense. I mean, you got babies raising babies, right? I came out of a two-parent home growing up, but a lot of these younger generations are, one parent or no parents, right? I mean, so they're just in survival mode, and so they're struggling. And so they only can talk about what they know and what they're dealing with in that environment in which they're in. And so the music reflects that, right? So so I get it. But you're right about the music too. I mean, I think Christian music in the past has kind of been kind of hokey. It's been real hokey, but it's gotten better. It's gotten better.
It's stepping up now. It's stepping up. It's stepping up. It's stepping up a lot.
Across the board, like you said with The Chosen. I mean, I've been loving that series. It's been like quality. I mean, just really good. So, yeah.
But in all those things, we gotta create in that way as well too. Make sure that it's the absolute best, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And relate to people as well too. Not just because I do Christian hip hop and things like that doesn't mean I gotta beat people up. What I'm saying with it, but let people relate. They want realness too as well. That's why guys like Eminem and NF and things like that do really well, because they're like, whoa, I can relate to this person. I can relate to this person.
Yeah.
That's
true. That's true.
Yeah. That hey, people follow that, man. People follow that.
So as we get ready to close, the young generation here, what are you guys doing to kind of address the things that we kind of talked about? I mean, you guys are producers, you're artists, you're writers, and so forth. I mean, so Jordan, you kind of alluded on it. You said that you're writing music based on what's real to you and how you deal with things, and being 100, being 100. What about you, Jairus? I mean, is your music reflecting the life in which you are now, or?
I think now it is, because I think when I was first starting, like I was just trying to say anything just that rhymed, or say anything that everybody else is saying just because it sounded good. But I think now I'm more in tune with exactly what I'm saying, and like how it's portrayed compared to how it was in the past. So yeah, I'm just more conscious. I think this I think that's one for like having like a daughter now, because it's like, dang, you want to be in tune like what she hears. So like I don't want to be saying like, oh, and then playing my music around her, and then yeah, it's just like a bad image. So I want to like cheat the same thing for my soul. I feel like in just portraying a lot of things now, but I think that's just more something that came with maturity and what I started to do recently, which is like, I'm happy for it. But compared to in the past, here I would just say, like I said, I would just say anything that rhymed or whatever that sounded good. So yeah, so like right now, just like I'm just more in tune of what I'm saying, and like I think personally, I'm more of a producer because I can portray or translate what I'm feeling more through the producer side compared to like writing. So that's why I'm more transitioned to, because I feel like I don't know, I put more passion to that, and like I can let the beat and the pattern, like the 808s, the snare, the hi-hats, portray how I feel in that moment compared to like how I can do lyrics.
That's good. What about you three? I mean, I know you're just got a recent record deal. And so congratulations, of course. And I've been listening to your music, man. So your music has been kind of fascinating, because I think your first project, you were just kind of fresh out of the military, right? And so it's kind of your experience in the military, some of the ups and downs and so forth. And then you kind of released another project that was kind of your awakening, so to speak. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna tell all this. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think you just grow, you grow and you evolve, and you're able to relate. I think the creativity, and the music and everything allows you to be who you are. I think the Lord wants you to be who you are, wants you to grow in that, and also I think he wants you to evolve. So I just look forward to evolving, as well too. And another thing I'm really excited about is having, I'm a 100% man, all things for the glory of God, but I'm excited to be with Bentley Records right now, and I'm excited to be releasing an album called Identity. And I'm glad to have no restrictions on being able to do that, and being able to have opportunity to, be charted and expand a little bit. I want all people to hear it, and not to force my beliefs on anybody, but I really just want people to know that, like, no matter what you're going through, that I promise you that there's no other way or no other love that can love you more than the Lord, and that's what I just want people to know. It's like through the hurting, through the pain, writing and processing through that, through that first album of Saving Me, to the next one, Infiltrating. It's a story, man. It's a story, and when you write down things, it's like, you're producing things out onto the earth and in the sound waves and into the air all over the place that is going to go forever, and that's what I'm excited about, is that all of that just points back to the word of God. But I also want to reach people far and wide, not just believers, or not just within the church, or not there. I want everybody to be able to hear about the word of God. And I want that to go as far as it can possibly go, and when anybody asks me the reason why, man, is just because God is love, his love, and he loves our worship to him, he loves it,
Yeah.
So, I want the things of the music, that cause us to dwell upon you know, I don't want him to make us dwell on the world. I want him to dwell on him, because we're going to be here but a moment. You know what I mean? We aren't here long. So, I just encourage people to grow, to like what is wrong with the love of God in music. Like, what is wrong with it? There is nothing wrong with loving people and bringing unity together and bringing togetherness, you know. And I know that we're drawn down in this world. I get it, you know, sin and stuff. It's ugly, it's painful, you know. But we can be open with our pains. We can be open with our hurts, and that's what I want to do is just channel it through the music. You know, that's why the next album coming up is going to be called Identity. You know, that is my identity. You know, I want to express my identity, you know, and that's the beautiful thing of music and worship and rap and everything, you know, is that you have the freedom to express that, you know, and the Lord loves it. He loves it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at, man. You know, I mean, I hope to do some amazing features with people that'll just blow, you know, that are just gonna look at and be like, what with that person? What with you know, I want to have an impact on anybody that I can. I don't care if they're the hardest gangster rapper that there is, you know. I'm down to be creative with that person, you know. As long as it's positive, man, and I'm able to speak about the glory of God and bring it back to that, I'm cool, you know. So
Yeah.
I pray for those type of opportunities because I want to witness to these people. I want to witness to these brothers. I want to witness to anybody that I can possibly witness and just let them know, like, if God could change me, He could change you.
So true, man. That's exciting, man. I can't wait to hear the project. Like I said, I've heard Save Me and Infiltrate. Both of the projects were dope. So I'm looking forward to the next release. What about you, Jordan and Jairus? You guys, anything popping off in the near future?
Shit. Hey, Jordan.
I got an EP on the way. I don't know when I'm gonna drop it. It's probably gonna be early next year. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's fully produced, written, and engineered by me. And
All right, now.
yeah, something that like this, but something that I've been struggling with is just writing well, and I feel like I really stepped it up with this. Like most of the times, like my songs, I can't even write 2 verses. It's just too much. Like it's my like ADHD mind. But like most of the songs on here is like 2 verses, so it's just like a proud moment for me. So yeah, that's gonna be early next year. I'm dropping Supernatural Reality. That's the name of it.
Cool.
Okay, cool. What about you, Jairus?
So, I think recently I've just been in like a transitional phase because I was doing a lot of music, but I wanted to portray it a lot more with like fashion. So like I want to like drop, like have more of a collaboration when I start dropping music, like doing like a piece with it, and like so it can like portray like more of an image in a sense. So I'm basically done. Like I'm gonna drop a single, so like 2 songs, and I'm gonna drop like 2 hats with it, and that's where I want to start, like just having more of like a base where I can promote like merchandise and doing songs at the same time, like just like test out marketing. So I got that coming up, and I just want to, everything's produced by me, everything's written by me, also engineered also by me. But I just want to like just tackle more of like just having like a more of a marketing scheme with more releases for now on forward, because I think that's the most important part of this music nowadays, is just marketing, just how to push it to like your market, your target audience. So I just definitely want to like test that market out and just test, so we can get MaybeImdreaming on the map, and like Jordan's futures, his future EPs are other artists also. So I just want to test out that market just so we can let everybody hear our music. Really, just I want to get on that type of wave, and I'm pushing hard to start doing that very soon.
All right, man. Well, I know for me, my kids have been on me about putting out my 8,000 ideas.
He does it when he makes music. He just numbers it. Like I don't understand how he like knows what song is what.
Yeah, I call it Project 430, Project 435.
And that's going from 0 to all the way up there, or 1 from all the way up there.
Oh, so they've been on me to say, hey, you need to do something and stop just coming up with ideas. So actually, I already created my own Instagram
Cool.
page called Miles Rover Music.
Okay.
So coming into the new year, God willing, I'm gonna start pushing some stuff out, putting
That's
those song ideas out.
Ready to hear him.
It's nice though. I like it because your music is different because you have that jazz background, so you're trying to infiltrate that into hip hop. So I like what you be doing on the producing side.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I need that. But anyway, man, I appreciate you guys, man. It's been really a good discussion. I love you guys' insight and your wisdom. Appreciate you guys taking the time out. I know everybody's got busy schedules, so thank you for hanging out with us on God Dreamers.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us again.
All right, guys. So until next time, if you like what we're doing, subscribe. If you have any ideas, especially going into the new year, I really want to hear more testimonies and share more testimonies about, people's overcoming a lot of, the challenges. So if you know of someone that has an awesome testimony, and actually we all have testimonies, right? We all have gone through things, tough times and so forth. So I would love to hear your story so we can share and let others be inspired as well. So anyway, reach out to me through social media. Always feel free to comment and let me know what's going on and we can make it happen. So anyway, guys, until next time, God bless. Y'all take care. Peace out.
See you later.
Peace.